Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions, worlds of TV, film, news, pop culture, everything really depending on the guests we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, know me as PD Beats. We're talking about the film Marijuana Conspiracy coming out April 20th, 4/20. We're speaking to Brittany Bristow about this. Brittany, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
I mean, the film is going to be coming out soon, and it's going to be coming out April 20th, which... makes sense.
Yeah.
What was this project like compared to others you worked on in the past, Brittany?
Oh, this project was so much fun. It was such a pleasure to be a part of. And it was really unique in that I was playing somebody who was, based on a real person.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not the first time I've done that, but it was such a unique film because it's a true story and no one knows about it. It's a true story that got completely swept under the rug. So for those who don't know, it's a film about a group of women who enter a medical experiment voluntarily in 1972 in Toronto because they wanted to do an experiment to see how marijuana use affected women. And these women were in isolation, which we all understand now. They were stuck inside for 98 days. And they weren't allowed to speak to the outside world unless they wanted to write a letter home. They weren't allowed to go outside for more than 5 minutes, and it was supervised, and it was at like 5 a.m. And so they did this entire experiment, and then poof, the results were nowhere to be found. They were never told what happened. And a lot of people actually think that the speculation is that it supported legalizing marijuana in 1972, and that's why the results were swept under the rug.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely something I thought of too. And I watched the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. It's one of those things too where it's funny you mentioned the fact that this is a story that based on true events and no one knew about it. Is it safe to say, because we're in an age, especially with the pandemic, a lot of people are watching a lot of content right now, and a lot of people want to make content when they can, because of the pandemic and everything. Is it safe to say that we have a big opportunity here, Brittany, to tell the stories that were not told, the untold stories? Is that the era of film and TV we're in right now, do you think?
Absolutely. I absolutely think so. And I think that there's so much more opportunity out there right now for filmmakers and creators because we are so desperate for material and we want to see things that, we're so many of us are just at home sitting on our couch all day. What else are we supposed to do? So I think it's a really uniquely wonderful time for media right now. And I think that people who want to be creative should absolutely take the jump now. And I'm really excited that this film is coming out now because not only is legalization something that's very topical, but people understand to a certain extent and in their own way what these women went through. Mm-hmm. Because up until now, when have people gone through something where we've had to be in isolation for so long? So I think, yes, right now there's such a great opportunity for media and for content creation, but in particular with this film, I think it's a pretty unique moment for it to be coming out. So,
and I find it interesting, Brittany, because I really do think this is a unique, different film. Because I'm watching this film, and there's not that many films out there that I wish there was more that were about these actual experiments that kind of happened and these social experiments, because that's a huge component to it. For people that have followed your career, you've done a lot of romantic comedies, a lot of Christmas movies as well. This is kind of a little this is different than those films, right? Yeah. What was that kind of transition and mindset like as a storyteller and actor, going from those Christmas movies to the Marijuana Conspiracy, Brittany?
For me, I've always sort of said that my process, if you will, for every character is really the same. Yeah. For me, I like to figure out who the person is from the ground up. Mm-hmm. And I do the background work. I have a crazy amount that I write down. I really put as much love and as much life into these people as humanly possible, regardless of the genre. So playing Jane was it was different. It was very fun. She's a character I don't get to play very often, and it was definitely a lot of fun to do. But when it comes to the actual preparation, I find for me, a lot of the work is quite similar, because all of these people in my mind are real. It's just my job to bring them to life. So
absolutely.
Yeah, but it was really fun. And I've had a really great opportunity this last few years to do quite a few independent films as well. So it's been really fun to sort of take the more serious side, but I do love making a good rom-com. There's so much more.
I don't think they don't get old. Like, they're timeless. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it's one of those things where you always want to feel good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You always want to watch something that's going to make you feel happy.
And you've done a lot. You've done a lot of good ones. You've done a lot of good ones. I feel like it would be hard for you to kind of pick one of your favorites, right? Like, they're all pretty special to you, right?
Yeah, I love the work I do, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. So for all the ones I'm in, it's hard because I'm like, well, I love that one, but I also love that one, and that one was super fun too.
It's like they say, like picking your favorite like child, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're all my children. I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. You touched on this a little bit in the intro of the interview, Brittany, about it's an untold story, and it's interesting in that regard. The obvious answer to this question is you hope people kind of enjoy the film, they recommend it to their friends. Diving deep into it a little bit more, Brittany, what are you hoping people get out of watching The Marijuana Conspiracy?
Well, I think something that would be really wonderful that people can understand is that we have to do the research if we want to know what's happened in our world. And in so many ways, no matter what it is that you're doing, you need to do your research. You need to understand what you're speaking about. You need to understand what's come before. I think one thing that would be really wonderful from watching this film is if there was a push to release the information, because these women deserve to know what happened. And regardless of what the results were, they don't really matter now in the same way. We're beyond 30 years past when this happened. So the actual results won't have so much weight, but the results have to exist. I mean, there's no way that they did all of this. They did blood work on these women every single day, multiple times a day, to the point where they needed doctor's notes to prove they weren't addicts. Like, these women deserve to know what the results were, and they want to know. And that's a very small ask, in my opinion. So it would be great if, this movie can sort of spark a push for that.
Absolutely. One of my favorite.
People watch it and love it also. So.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, one thing I really enjoyed about this movie, Brittany, is I'm hoping people get out of it too, is, a lot can happen in conversations. The women in this film, during this experiment, spend a lot of time together and have very interesting conversations with each other that don't seem like they're that powerful when you think about it. Like, it's just two people chatting. But do you know what I mean when I'm talking about that? There's a lot of dialogue between the characters in the experiment that hit pretty hard.
Well, I think too, one thing that's unique when you look at these women is the situations that they were in going into the experiment.
Yes, absolutely. They're there, yeah, for sure.
They wanted to be able to go to that place that they couldn't afford to go.
Yes.
One girl really wanted to go to school. One girl was essentially homeless and had nothing else. So, and there's a character who wanted to start a business. And as a woman in 1972, having thousands of dollars to put down to create a company was next to impossible. So I think one thing that's really interesting is you took these people who all came from different walks of life, who wanted different things, who were experiencing different things. You stuck them in a room. They're all going to learn. They're going to bond. They're going to evolve as a result of the connections that they build with each other. And I think, one thing that was really specific to my character that I noticed was that my character goes in sort of not really having any need for super connection. She's just a hippie who wants to move to Victoria. She's all about free love and sharing land and love and whatever. And throughout the process of this, she becomes so maternal and protective of the people that are a part of this experiment.
Yeah.
She's the one who's used to this drug use.
Yeah.
But when it comes time to do something about it, she's the person that stands up because she cares so much and it's so foreign to her. But it's something that then puts that much more value into who she is in her life. So I think in that sense, those are the conversations that create that change for each of these people.
Absolutely. No, the cast is amazing. Everyone does a great job. I have a friend in this film too, Alex Harouche. Shout out to Alex Harouche.
Amazing.
He's in it. He's great. It's amazing. It's interesting. You talk about your character and everything. Learning experiences. Preparing for this role. Talk a little bit about the learning experiences filming this film, Brittany, and the preparation that you had to do and research for this character.
Yeah, of course. So I think one thing that was really interesting for me was, you know, as a woman, we have an opportunity when we play characters who existed in a time that we didn't, you know, to sort of look at how society saw women, because there has been such a change.
Yes.
We are considered to be equal now, but in the 70s, we weren't. And there was a really different stigma to how you lived your life, what you chose to do, how you chose to dress. Whether or not you were worthy of having a job based solely on the fact that we had the capacity to get pregnant. Yeah. So, you know, there was a lot of learning I did in terms of how women were looked at in the 1970s. I was just telling someone else actually that one of the funniest parts for me was I'm a trained dancer and my character dances around in the movie. And I was like, I don't know how to dance like they did in the 70s. So I looked that up. A lot of people are curious when it came to the actual marijuana side of things. For me, there was no preparation. I don't partake, but we had a wonderful team of people who were there to hold our hand and guide us through everything along the way.
I didn't think about that. The smoky weed aspect of it. That wasn't what I was getting at when I asked you that. I wasn't basically being like, so Brittany, did you smoke a lot of weed? Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but it was, you know, there was some preparation in terms of that. I think understanding we had
landscape a little bit too, right? You have to understand the landscape, right?
Exactly. And we had such a phenomenal team of people. Our makeup artist made us all look the part more than we ever could have done on our own. She was so phenomenal. Our costume department, the set decorators, everyone on this film worked so hard
to bring the park so life. Good.
And everyone was willing to lend any information they knew. It was such a team effort, and everyone wanted to make sure that everything felt as authentic as humanly possible.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Brittany, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. The film's going to be out April 20th, 4/20, so they'll be able to check that out. Where can they follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Of course, yeah. So my Twitter and Instagram are at Britt Bristow. And then I also have a Facebook page, Brittany Bristow.
Amazing.
I am not very good at social media, but I am trying my best.
You're on social media. Like it's there, though, so people can check it out if they want to, right?
I made a TikTok video once. That went well.
See, that's interesting because I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. Do you know what that means?
You have it.
I have it.
You watch it. You don't do it.
Okay, you know, because I said that to someone else before. They were like confused. They're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" I was like, "So." That's awesome.
I'm just amazed that there's an entire generation of people who are really fantastic at dance because I cannot.
Yeah, it started like that's what TikTok basically started as. Like it evolved a little bit, but it was dancing. That's why it wasn't, people were comparing it to Vine right away, and it wasn't because there wasn't any dancing on Vine. You remember Vine?
Yeah, like once upon a time there that existed.
Yeah, exactly. And there wasn't much dancing on it.
No. I also didn't really understand or use Vine.
There's
I don't
people writing
Twitter, if I'm being honest, but
this is a movie about an experiment that they've done. They're doing experiments and essays and case studies on like how TikTok and Vine are not similar at all. I'm just saying, like it's wild. But again, thank you so much. Congrats on the film. It was really awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For a previous episode, you can catch Brittany Bristow in the Marijuana Conspiracy coming on 4/20, April 20th. Until next time, this is Brittany Bristow and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.